The other day I was talking to a friend of mine, and in the conversation I used the phrase, well, I'm just practicing the presence of God. He said, whoa, wait a minute. What does that mean? What are you talking about? And I'm sure that for some people, when you say you're practicing the presence of God, that might even bring up images of lighting incense or sitting around meditating or something. And that is not at all what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is having a mindset where God is present throughout your day, in your life, when you're in situations and when you're with people. You know, life has a way of kind of becoming routine. I drive to work, take this generally the same route, the quickest route to the office here. I live about 10 minutes away. So I stop at the same stoplights. I speed up in the same areas. I also slow down in front of the same school that I pass. And so as a result, you tend to get into a rut. Well, when you're in a rut, you're not practicing the presence of God. Practicing the presence of God is having an awareness. You know, I was in a rut the other day. I was, again, going on the same road, and there's a guy in front of me waving his hands. He's about 75 feet away, but nevertheless, he's standing beside a tow truck with yellow lights that are flashing, and he's getting my attention. I basically hadn't even seen him. Well, when we practice the presence of God, I don't want to be like on autopilot where I'm just driving down or going through the routines of work or life. We need to be kind of engaged with God. And that's what I was really talking about when I mentioned that to my friend. When we practice the presence of God, we can do it, I think, in two basic ways. One is in situations, and another is with people. When I talk about situational awareness, it's a matter of being aware of God as you go throughout life. You know, God, is there something you can teach me from this certain situation I'm in? Years ago, I had the most horrific experience of losing one of my four beautiful daughters. Sheila died. She passed away from breast cancer. But in my pain and grief, I turned to God and I said, God, I know there's something you can teach me in this. See, that's practicing the presence of God. You know, Jesus did this all the time. He used examples from the physical world. He would point to a rock and then give a teaching about a spiritual example of a rock. He'd point to a city that was up on a hill, and then he'd talk about the city that was on the hill, or a light and a candle, you know, on a candlestick, and nobody putting a basket over it. He used sand and, you know, teaching about a foundation. He even used bread and wine to teach some very deep spiritual truths about his broken body and shed blood. So as we go through life, if you're practicing the presence of God, you're engaged in God. You have a mindset where you're looking for things that God can teach you. I'm driving to work the other day and I noticed a bunch of people walking dogs. You know, people are always walking dogs. But that day I happened to notice them. And in my mind I said, God, is there something you can teach me? A spiritual lesson you can give me from dogs? By the time I got to the office, he did. I had a number of examples that God had I believe, had shown me spiritual truths about friendship and loyalty and obedience and different things, aspects of life that I learned because I was practicing the presence of God. He's done the same. As I left a friend one time and I said, God, is there lessons in friendship you can teach me? And by the time I got to my office, I think I had 10 or 15 lessons of what is a true friend. Another way, besides the situational awareness, another way we can practice the presence of God is when we're with people. People are God's most precious possession. And if you have a mindset when you're with other people, what can I do to serve this person? What can I do to be? You know, what do I need to be for this person? I don't think God will hold back any revelation because God desires that you be blessed from others and that you bless others. So there's things that I need to learn and there's things that I can share with others. And when I have a situational mindset, an awareness, and an awareness with other people where God is present with me, then I believe I'm practicing the presence of God. And in doing that, I think you'll find great spiritual growth and you'll find a richness to your life that, frankly, I can't imagine going through life without practicing His presence.